Hello everyone. Today we are going to start your geography chapter. Okay student, you have already got the conceits, or we can say the updated syllabus of your SST subject. Okay, but now again more precise chapters are there. That means what, 30% syllabus were already reduced. Okay, so in that we have already discussed your first chapter of geography. Okay, that is the resource and development. Now we are going to start your fourth chapter, that is agriculture. Okay, the second and third chapter students, it's not going to come in the boards. Only the map work you can see. Okay, only the map work will be there, otherwise it's not going to come. So that is why today we are going to start your agriculture chapter. Okay, you all people are familiar with the agriculture term. Yes, our country's biggest population is engaged in agriculture sector only. Yes, so students, as you people have already learned this topic in the last 2 years, like the agriculture is there in the 8th syllabus also and in the 9th syllabus also. We are having a little extend form of this topic in the standard. Okay, so for knowing that, let's see the video.
The importance of agriculture can be estimated from the fact that about 50% of the people in the world are engaged in agriculture and agriculture-related activities. In India too, about 3/4 of the population is engaged in agriculture and related activities. This sector contributes to about 1/3 of the country's national income. Farming can be broadly classified into two types. Subsistence farming, a type of farming practiced in the densely populated regions, and commercial farming, which is largely undertaken as a business enterprise for sale of crops in return for profits.
Yes students, so first of all here what you have just learned, here you have learned that our 3/4 of the population of our country is engaged in agriculture sector, but right now these days it is like changing. Okay, we have already discussed about your economics chapter, that is the sectors of economy. In that we have already discussed that in primary sector this agriculture and related works comes. Okay, so here we are saying about that only. Okay, now it is saying that agriculture also plays an important role for the contribution of earning the national income. Okay, apart from that, as we are discussing about the farming, okay, agriculture is what? It is about farming only. So farming is of two types. It is, first of all, is subsistence farming, and second one is commercial farming. Okay students, so what is commercial farming? Yes, so subsistence farming is what students? It is basically done in the densely populated area, and the word subsistence itself is saying what? It is all about the farming doing for our own subsistence, for our own living. Okay, when the farmers are producing the goods for their own subsistence, for their own living, so that is called as subsistence farming. Whereas in commercial farming, okay, commercial farming is done for doing the business, as the word commerce is all about business only. Okay, so that only. Yes students, so the commercial farming means what? That the farming which were done for the intention of earning profit and doing the business. Okay, so let's just start students the next Click.
In farming, the farmer and his family use primitive methods to grow crops and rear animals. The objective is to produce an amount that is just sufficient to fulfill their needs. A large part of India's population depends upon subsistence farming. Subsistence farming can be further divided into two types of farming: intensive subsistence farming and primitive subsistence farming. In intensive subsistence farming, a small plot of land is cultivated using a lot of labor, good quality seeds, rich manure, and fertilizers that help to increase production.
Yes, students. So now again it is saying about that the subsistence farming can be divided into two parts. That is the intensive subsistence farming and the primitive subsistence farming. See here, in intensive subsistence farming, what is the feature? How the farming were done? So here in intensive subsistence farming, there is a small plot of land that more labor is used than required. Okay, that we have already discussed in the disguised unemployment. Okay, so when more labor is required, when more labor is used than required, then what happened? It is a situation of disguised unemployment. Okay, it is saying that they use the good quality of seeds and there is extensive use of the rich manure and the fertilizers. Okay, let's see the next thing.
An important aspect of this kind of farming is that more than one crop is grown annually on the same plot of land. This type of farming is used to produce crops such as rice, wheat, maize, pulses, jute, sugarcane, and oilseeds. This type of farming is largely practiced in the plains of northern India and the coastal regions of southern India. Primitive subsistence farming is another form of subsistence farming that mainly includes shifting cultivation. In shifting cultivation, a plot of land is cleared by felling or burning of trees. The ash is then mixed in the soil and the land is plowed using primitive tools. Once the soil loses its fertility, the farmer shifts to a new plot of land. The shift happens usually after a period of 2 years.
Yes, students. So here now we are saying about the primitive subsistence farming, and in that we are saying about the shifting cultivation. So what is the feature of shifting cultivation? It is the trees were burned or felled to clear a plot so that the land will get clear, and then what will happen? They will have a empty land for doing the agriculture. Okay. Then ash mixed with the soils and plow. Primitive tools were used in farming and land abandoned after soil loses fertility. So this means what? That they move and do this shifting cultivation. Okay, they just do what? That they burn the trees, they fell the trees, then they make empty land. They used to do the cultivation until unless the soil loses its fertility. So that process is called as shifting cultivation, zooming cultivation, or zoom cultivation. Okay, students, now let's see the next thing.
Again, another plot of land is cleared and the same process of farming is adopted. Crops like millets, buckwheat, maize, potatoes, and cassavas are grown in this plot. This type of farming is practiced in the states of Assam, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala. In each state, they are known by different names. For example, it is known as Jhoom in Assam, Paru in Andhra Pradesh and Odisha, Devar, Masha, Penda, Hela in various parts of Madhya Pradesh, and Onam in Kerala.
Yes, so you have seen that how the Juving cultivation were called by the different names in the different states. Let's see the next video now.
The other major type of farming, apart from subsistence farming, is commercial farming. Commercial farming is used to grow crops and rear livestock on a large scale. The main purpose is profit generation. Modern technology and innovative methods are used to increase productivity and profits. Commercial farming is of four types: intensive commercial farming, extensive commercial farming, mixed farming, and plantation farming.
Yes, so now again we are talking about the second type of farming. Okay, that is the commercial farming, and here it is saying that it is already divided into four parts. That is the intensive commercial farming, extensive commercial farming, mixed farming, and the plantation farming. Let's just see all the details about the different types of commercial farming.
Intensive commercial farming is practiced in areas which have small holdings and yield is maximized with the help of irrigation facilities, fertilizers, use of hybrid seeds, and scientific methods of farming. Predominantly, food crops are cultivated in intensive commercial farming. Cash crops like sugarcane and tobacco are also cultivated. Extensive farming is largely done when a large area of land is available. Farming is done with mechanized equipment in the absence of human and animal labor. As a result, it is a very capital-intensive method.
Yes, students, so here we have seen that intensive commercial farming were done in the small plot of land, whereas in the extensive commercial farming, the farms were large, okay, mechanized farming were done, and it is more and more about the capital intensive. When we are saying it is about capital intensive technique of production, that means what? That we are using machineries for doing this farming, okay, that more and more capital, that is money, is required for doing this type of farming, because obviously the land is large, so accordingly the equipments and the capitals are required, okay.
In this method, single crop cultivation like wheat and maize are grown purely for commercial purpose, that is for selling and making profits. In mixed farming, the farmer conducts more than one agricultural activity on the same land to increase income. The land is used to grow food crops and to rear animals as cattle and poultry, thrive on farm wastes and fodder which is specially grown for cattle. Animal rearing provides additional income for the farmers. Besides this, two or more crops that mature at different times are grown simultaneously.
Yes, so here mixed farming, as it is, the word itself is saying it is all about something of the mixture. Yes, so that means what? Sorry. So here basically two or more crops can be grown at the same time, okay. What all other things can be done in the mixed farming? So the growing of crops, as well as the people do that cattle rearing. So for that the fodder is also available, okay. Then it is saying the crops and animals are raised simultaneously, okay. That means what? While doing the farming, they were doing this animal farming also, okay. I hope you people are knowing about what is animal farming. It is very like basic concept which you people have learned in the junior classes only. Okay, now it is saying the animal rearing provides additional income. Obviously, when we are going to do the side-by-side parallel business, so what will happen? Our earning sources will be increased and our income will accordingly increase. Okay, let's see the next thing.
This ensures a steady income for farmers. Plantation farming, also called monoculture farming, is done on large tracts of land where only a single crop like tea, coffee, sugarcane, rubber, or
and with this we can do the business. Okay, we can earn more and more profit. So that is why it will be the example of the plantation farming.
Farming is done with the help of machinery or labor, as is seen in the case of tea plantations. It is a capital-intensive method. Most of these estates are scientifically managed.
Yes, students. So plantation farming is what? It is scientifically managed. Okay, and now we will see the next clip.
Farming is thus done in many different ways throughout the country, based on the geographical conditions of the place, the amount of labor, and the level of technology used.
So what we have just discussed, it is a conclusion. We have learned about that agriculture, the 50% of the population were indulged in agriculture. Okay, and they have also used to contribute in our national income, that is the earning in our country. Okay, now how many types of farming is there? So broadly it is divided into two parts, that is the subsistence farming and the commercial farming. Okay, then subsistence farming is again divided into two parts, that is the intensive subsistence farming and the primitive subsistence farming. Okay, now commercial farming, it is also divided into four parts, that is the intensive commercial farming, extensive commercial farming, mixed farming and the plantation farming. Okay, let's see now the next topic of this chapter.
India as a country exhibits great physical diversity in terms of its geography and climate. This has a direct effect on the people living here. As a result, the people and the ways in which they live differ across the length and breadth of the country. This diversity is also reflected in the cropping patterns practiced across the country. There are three main cropping seasons followed in India, namely Rabi, Kharif and Zaid.
You should remember this thing. Okay, now we are talking about the geographical location and the agriculture, and here it is saying that farming is done into three seasons. Okay, three seasons were divided for doing the different crop productions farming. Okay, so here that is the Rabi, Kharif and Zaid. These are the three categories in which the different food crops were produced. Okay.
Rabi, or the winter crops, are sown from October to December. Towards mid-October, most parts of the country experience moderately cool climate. The western disturbances bring rain to the northern and northwestern parts of India. This is conducive for the cultivation of Rabi crops. Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh are states where a significant area is used for wheat cropping along with other Rabi crops. The cool and moist climate is just right for growing temperate and subtropical crops such as wheat, peas, gram and mustard. These crops are harvested in spring and early summer from April to June.
So here Rabi means spring, okay, in Arabic, which is when the crop is harvested. So you have to see the time phase of all the crops, that it's there, now it's there, the crop calendar. Yes, it is shown here that it is sown, the Rabi crops were sown in October
of the monsoon crops are sown between May and July. The arrival of the southwest monsoons in most parts of India marks the beginning of this crop cycle. Abundant rainfall, high humidity, and short spells of sunshine are the distinct climatic conditions prevalent at this time. Assam, West Bengal, the coastal regions of Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Maharashtra, along with Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, are important areas where kharif cropping is practiced. Crops such as rice, maize, jowar, and moong are sown in this season. Many cash crops such as groundnut, soybean, sugarcane, and cotton are also grown in this season. The kharif crops are harvested at the end of the monsoons in the autumnal months of September and October, except sugarcane, which takes approximately a year to grow, is harvested later.
Yes, so the example of the kharif crops are jowar, moong, rice and maize, and the phase of doing the production, doing the agriculture is from May to October. Okay, so please note it down this all. Now again, kharif means what? It means autumn. Rabi means spring, kharif means autumn in Arabic, and which is the time when these crops are harvested. So this all can come in 1 marks. Okay, so you need to remember this all things also.
The zaid crop is cultivated during the short summer interval between harvesting season of the rabi crops and the sowing season of the kharif crops. This period lies between the months of March and June. Many fruits and vegetables such as watermelon, muskmelon, and cucumber are grown in this season. These fruits and vegetables are high in water content. This helps to prevent them from drying out in the heat of the summer season.
Yes, so here now the last category of the crops, that is the zaid crop. So here the examples of the crops which were produced under this categories are vegetable, cucumber, muskmelon, watermelon. Okay, and the phase is what? From March to June. Okay, from March to June, this is like the fruits and the vegetables were sown and harvested. So you need to learn and you need to write the all different 3 types of crops, that is the Rabi, Kharif and Zaid. Okay, the time period and what are the examples of the different crops. Okay.
Fodder crops used to feed domesticated livestock is also grown and harvested in this period. Sugarcane that was grown in the kharif season is harvested at this time. These months.
So here it is said that Zaid means abundance. Abundance means what? Plenty, large amount. Okay. So Zaid means abundance in Arabic. Okay. That means large amount, the plenty amount. Okay.
Multiple cropping patterns teamed with the advantages of mechanization of agriculture, hybrid seeds, and better irrigation facilities have helped India reach a stage of national self-sufficiency in food crops.
Yes, so in that way we have just learned the 3 different cropping patterns of the 3 different categories of the food crops, like that is the Zaid crops, Rabi crops and the Kharif crops. Okay, now let's see the next topic. So now we are going to learn the agricultural reforms in India. That means what? That how the reforms were taken place in the field of agriculture, how the different steps were taken for the development of agriculture, okay, in our country. So just let's see from the ancient time, from the historical background, then we will come to the latest current scenario, okay.
Since ancient times, agriculture has been an important occupation in India. At the time of independence, there were many issues such as small holdings, traditional methods of cultivation, and lack of funds plaguing Indian agriculture. Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, introduced land reforms in the first 5-year plan with the aim of bringing self-sufficiency in food production. After which, successive reforms were brought in. Let's explore the series of reforms that changed the face of agriculture in India with the help of a timeline. Click each image to learn more.
So students, now here the different phases were mentioned, that how the different phases were there in for the agriculture development in our country, okay. First of all, it is said that our Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru has introduced the 5-year plan, okay, and accordingly the different steps were taken in the progress of the development of agriculture. The first of all, it is about the 1950s land reforms, then the introduction of Green Revolution in 1965, then the White Revolution in 1970s and 80s, then the development programs in 1980s and 1990s, and afterwards in 1990s and beyond, the different agricultural schemes were introduced in our country. We will discuss about this all in details in the next class. Till then, you please just note it down